I am Madam Emily Gogra, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education in Sierra Leone. I have been invited as a guest for this FAWE conference, and I am so delighted to join them, and I've learned a lot. The theme for this conference is transforming education systems in Africa and what works. Indeed, this is a positive move which encircles about the progress of girls and leading to our future women. When I came, my expectations were just to talk on FAWE organization, I thought, and on girls, but it has given me a broader perspective wherein I learned a lot of what happens in the different countries, the context they are taking in the educational strive of girls. I learned how girls are being handled, especially how girls are being taught in different methodologies, that is the pedagogy. Then I learned how girls are being treated in their own environment, which needs inclusive involvement of the stakeholders in the community. And what next? Women, political women, being as examples to lead these women to straighter paths that will get them involved so that they too will be involved tomorrow of joining the political wing and also making impact in their own communities. Looking through, I see that a lot has happened, and I am grateful to the organizers of this conference, especially Martha, who is the executive director, and the board members. We were opportuned to meet the Secretary of State of Education, who spoke to us that we need to incorporate the boys because it is a gender thing. We just don't have to focus on the girls and leave the boys. Sometimes the boys are the perpetrators. That is a take home for me. And the second thing I learned this afternoon is about the pregnant girls. And we have two sets of pregnant girls in Sierra Leone. Those who have dropped out of school and those who are in school that are pregnant. How do we handle them? Suggestions came that we have to have centers, holding centers for them. And what happens to their siblings? We also should have centers for them if we want them to go back to school. A lot of research came up, which we fail to do sometimes as African countries. We do not have the research to do in order to take decisions. We must, as a continent, go into research. I saw a young girl who made a research on pregnant girls, how she came about to handle their situation. But first of all, she did research. It's a very good program as we come to an end. And as I go back, I have three things that I'm going to take back home. First of all, the cooperation, the teamwork that I have seen the 3 days with all the workers coming from different countries of FAWE, working as a team, which has solidified this conference today to make it successful. That is number one thing. And everybody goes with a smiling face, I'm telling you. As I sit here, I just say, let me stay in Nairobi. I see the teamwork. It is really, really impressive. And the second thing is the engagement of each and every person in making it a reality, sharing the jobs, and the effectiveness of the topics just suit the situation. And these topics are meaningful. Yesterday, the breakout sessions we had, they are really encouraging, and it is interactive. That is what we fail to do with our children. Sometimes we don't interact. We feel we just come, we teach them in the classrooms. It is one-man show. But I have learned that interactiveness has gone a long way. Everybody has contributed in diverse ways, and the contributions were meaningful. The third thing is what I need for Africa is inclusivity. We have to include each and every sector, each and every country. All of us have diverse cultures and diverse experiences. We must put this together and have a beautiful Africa. At the local level, I want like the stakeholders in the community to be involved. Then the children should have a radical, inclusive education. What I mean by this is, one, it is an overall, it is not only being centered in education, it has to extend to health, agriculture, then at least, like what I'm saying, interaction. Some children cannot open up. They should make them to talk and speak out their problems. They should have a voice in the society, in decision making. They should be involved, not after taking the decision, they come and tell the children. It is now that the communities have to start with these children to talk and to work for their communities, to get themselves engaged in community activities so that they don't have to teach them when they are adults. Then it takes a long time. They have to start now. We should start now in our communities to raise up our children to what exactly children should be. And then innovative education. That also is another aspect of the children. Teaching them technology. Teaching them in their own local environment what to produce. And the technology they will need. Like there is no water in this community. What do the children do with the adults? Not only the adults to solve the problem. The children are also problem solvers. They know and they have the sense. They have the intelligence to go about with it. So we need to involve them in our innovative activities. They have a lot to share and they have a lot to do. We can look at the phones. When we are at home, we see the adults. They don't know some of the apps in the phone. But those children having it for the first time, you will just see them going pop, 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 and you can admire them, and then they will teach you, even the adults. So if we leave them, they can do a lot. So Africa, let us wake up and wake our children to active participation. You know, for me, it's a wake-up call. What I have had to go back to my community. Some ways we have not engaged our children, and this is the time we have to let them participate, because very soon, like for some of us, we're going to leave the world, and who will take care if we do not raise them properly the way they should be? That is why this conference has motivated me to go back. I have my companion here. I ask her, you see? I tell her, you see, we have not been doing this and this. So when we go back, what should we do? And then she said, I'm going to do this. I said, I have it. I have that. Then I will just write down. And I'm writing down about 3 or 4 things, because it's not much. When you start with little, then it will scale up.